Hey y'all, it's Victoria. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing the top 5 things that I love about living in London. Now, these will not be in any particular order, but just 5 things that I really enjoy about this city. So, for those of you that do not know, I moved to London in 2017. I am an American. I was born in Brooklyn, New York, and I grew up in the suburbs of Washington, D.C. and Prince George's County, Maryland, but I've also lived in Houston, Texas, and I've lived in Charlotte, North Carolina. So, I have a bit of experience of living both, in America, in the deep South, and in a big city, and all of that good stuff. So, I'm going to link in the description some videos about my expat experience, particularly the video about why I decided to move to the UK. You can go back and watch that. And also the worst place that I've lived in the UK. I'll link that in the description and you can watch that as well. So let's get into number 1. Again, these are not going to be in any particular order. So the first thing I love about living in London is the public transportation system. So as an American, we are heavy into car culture. Car culture. That's difficult to say. So unless you live in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., if you don't live in those cities or right outside in the suburban areas of those cities, you pretty much have a car. And I'm someone that had a car since high school. It's almost like a rite of passage around your 16th birthday for your sweet 16 or like shortly thereafter for you to have a car. Like you just need a car to get from point A to point B if you don't live in like those areas that I've already mentioned. And so from a teenager until my early 30s when I moved here, I had a car. And having to upkeep with emissions tests and the maintenance of the car and paying the taxes and the fees and the registration fee, and leave me out of it. Leave me out of it. Now, having a car is absolutely like convenient in terms of back home in America compared to having to depend on public transportation. But here in London, I find that the tube is really reliable. And I think, again, this is one of those things where it may be dependent upon where you live. But the part of the city that I live, I find that the public transport is reliable. It's close to where I live. And I've lived only in one particular part of London, but I've worked all over the city and I've worked outside of London as well. And I found when I needed to commute from home to work and back from work to home, I found that that is pretty straightforward and really easy. Now, the tube, it has its shortfalls, you know what I'm saying? It be hot in there. It be 1,000,000 people crammed there in one carriage during rush hour. But it gets you from point A to point B, and you don't have to be dependent on having a car. Like if I lived in Texas, like when I lived in Texas, if I did not have a car, I would just be struggling. And in London, it's not like that. Like life goes on. You can hop on a bus, hop on a tube, and your life is going to go just fine. And most people don't have cars because you don't need it. Oh, the next thing I love about living in London is the food scene. Now, people be throwing shade on British cuisine, talking about beans on toast and bangers and mash. And to be honest, outside of like an English breakfast, I don't really eat like traditional British foods like that. And you don't have to because this is a multicultural, multilingual, very diverse city. You can eat pretty much any cuisine that your heart desires. If you have been around here at my channel before, you know that I love going out and trying new restaurants. I've been to a Michelin star restaurant, Gordon Ramsay's Michelin star restaurant. I've been to like local, mom and pop family owned restaurants from high end to low end to everything in between, to food markets like Borough Market or Broadway Market or whatever market that's in your local neighborhood. You can literally find any cuisine that you want, street food, anything. And I absolutely love that. I wouldn't like consider myself a foodie per se because I pretty much eat the same things every week, like when I'm cooking for myself. But when I go out and when I'm treating myself, I absolutely love that I can find like new cuisines and like British cuisine with a twist. Like, I have a video, I'll link it below, where I went to a restaurant in central London called Fallow, which is a modern British restaurant. So they're doing a twist on like traditional British cuisine. And I absolutely love that restaurant. But the food scene is great. There's like the Taste of London that I've been to. I recently went to Pub in the Park, which was earlier this year, which is essentially like food festivals that have all kinds of like TV personalities that have like their own cooking shows, and just really well-known restaurants and not so well-known restaurants just coming together in a celebration of food. And I love the food scene here. It's absolutely great. So the next thing I love about living in London is that there's always something going on. There's always an event to go to, and I love that. So you may not know this by, my energy that comes across through my videos on YouTube, but I am actually an introvert, and I prefer spending time alone and to myself to woosah and relax. But when I'm feeling social and I want to be out and about amongst the people, I don't got to wait 3 months and 6 weeks and all of this stuff to find a fun event to go to. There is literally something going on every day of the week, all day long here in London, and I love that. So I've been to Wimbledon. Like, that is such an amazing event. And obviously it's about like the tennis stars and who's going to win the doubles, who's going to win the singles championships. But there's also a very social aspect to Wimbledon, where it's all about like sitting on the lawn and sharing food and drinks, and it's very like social and fun. I've also been to Premier League football, and I went to an English football league match, and there's always live music. And I've been to an event where I've actually made my own perfume. It's literally something going on all the time, and I love that. And so if you're someone who is like a social butterfly and you like to be out all the time, baby, London is for you. And even if you're somebody like me who's more of an introvert, and if I do something social once or twice a week, we good, baby, we good. I don't need to be out and about every day. But once or twice a week, being out and about and being social is just enough to run my battery all the way down, and then it's time for me to recharge. But I absolutely love that there's always something going on in this international city. You can find whatever your jam is, and I love that. Absolutely love that. So I briefly mentioned the next thing that I love about living in London earlier in the video, but the diversity of this city, the multiculturalness, if that's a word, of this city. I absolutely love that. And, to be honest, I've always grown up in places that were very diverse. I mentioned earlier, I was born in New York. I grew up in suburban Washington, D.C. I've lived in Houston. So these are all very diverse cities. But I will say, no shade to none of those cities, but I feel like London is more diverse than all of those cities, except for maybe New York. Except for New York and London are very similar anyway. But outside of New York, I feel like London is probably the most diverse city that I've lived in, and I absolutely love that. I like, working with people that are from like different cultures and different backgrounds, because like there's a mutual exchange. Like the same way that they can learn from me, I can learn from them, especially if they have and even like learning about the nuances within a particular culture. Like, I absolutely love that. And, I'm not sure I would have had the opportunity to have met so many people from so many places if I've never like moved to London. And that's something that I'm truly like grateful for, because I have like built friendships from people from all over the globe, and like that has really honestly and truly like enriched my life in a way that is hard to put into words. So the diversity is absolutely a plus. And number 5 is going to be, for me, in my list of reasons why I enjoy living in London, is the work scene. So for those of you that do not know, I am a skilled worker. I was able to move to the UK under a skilled worker visa. And I have found that it's really easy to find work in the UK. Now, it's annoying. As a skilled worker, it takes a while, particularly if it's a permanent job, because of all of the background check and reference check and this check and that check. All of that is like very much so annoying as hell. But as a skilled worker, because there isn't enough like staff members to fill the vacancies in specific industries, there's a lot of work. And because there's a lot of work, it's easy. I find that it's easy to like change jobs from one job to another if you want to. And if you want to stay in the same job for like years and years and years, you can also do that. Now, that's not my jam. That's not my ministry. I got to get the hell on. After about a year or two, TikTok, I'm on the clock and I got to go. But if you are someone who, if you're like me and you like to change jobs, I find that it's easy. It's annoying AF, but it's easy. But this might be something that is dependent upon the industry that you work in. But for me, as a skilled worker, I found that it's quite easy to find work and to change jobs if that's something that you want to do. So, those are my top 5 things. So, drop down in the comments and let me know what it is that you like about living in London, or if you do not live here, what it is that you like about visiting London. And make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to my channel because I post new videos every Monday. And we recently hit 500 subscribers here at the Expat Exchange. The next goal is 1,000 subscribers. So I need everybody to subscribe and tell a friend to subscribe as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.